Ryan Cook and welcome to Angling For You. Today we're fishing the Cedar Complex at Oaks Lakes in Cessay, and we're going to have a little go at shallow fishing short. We're on quite a short session today, and we're just going to give it a quick go. I've seen if it's going to be sort of blended between this and the occasional, hopefully try and mug in a few, because there's some coming shallow. We haven't got a good ripple, which is annoying because it's gone off just before I started to film the video, but there is quite a few on the surface, and there's a chance of mugging a few. For the ones who don't know what mugging is, it's just dropping the bait in front and catching them unawares. Take it automatically and you're away. There is one in front of me actually, and it's doing that, trying to eat leaves and stuff, so if it does come up in front of me and I do stop talking and try and catch it, then that will be a good start to the video. I'm going to try and have it, if I'm honest. It keeps dipping in and out. What we're doing is we're fishing. I'll show you the rig when we get close in. We're doing a bit of slapping over. We've got an 8mm pellet, and we have 015 straight through to an 014 hook link, a single shot, and what we're doing is mimicking the sound of pellets in the water by flicking over the rig. We've got it set at about 8 inches at the moment, maybe 9 inches deep, and we're just seeing how that goes. We've got a fairly light elastic on today, and we're just trickling those pellets in periodically. Now what you want to do is you've got to keep feeding. That's the main objective when you're shallow fishing, to flick those pellets in and flick that feed, because you need to attract them, and you must feed constantly. I'm using Fishery Zone pellets, 4 mils I'm feeding, and I'm alternating between a 6 and an 8mm. 8mm nothing nowadays really for carp, and the reason I do is it tends to, I'm not saying it does always, but tends to sort out the slightly bigger fish. You tend to wean off those little roach that do come into here, but there's a lot of hide as well, so there's potential of catching some nice hide. And fingers crossed we'll have some. We need to build a swim. I've only been feeding it 5 or 10 minutes, and that's obviously not a lot of time, so it may take a little bit of getting going. The fish haven't had a lot of oxygen in the water for a while with the rain. I've got the aerator to my right, which is not on currently. He may have had that on, but there you go, see the no need for striking. That fish just took that straight away, and that's what you're looking for when you're shallow fishing, is the fish to basically take the elastic out, and just swim off effectively, and which obviously that one has. It's a nice sort of hybridized F1, but what you must do is just keep that still going in like a little rugby ball. He's not very happy. Let's get the hookies, the bottom of the net just pulled out, but the get that one in, and I'll show you the rig. But what you're effectively doing is getting them, you're not feeding too much, but just a little bit at a time. What you're trying to do effectively is get them competing for that food. You want them to, almost like that one did, just take it. You don't want to have to strike, it just takes the bait straight away from you. So this is that rig. The float's a tiny little float, so like a little 0.2, but it's sorry, 0.1, but it's in line, and there's a sort of little piece of tubing through the body of the float, and that allows you to put the line straight through, and straight through to that small hook link, and obviously straight away the fish were ready for it, and that was a nice fish to start off with. So let's get back out there. I'm not going to feed straight away while these geese are going past, because I don't want them standing here every 2 seconds, so as you all know, birds are not my favourite thing when I'm fishing. So I'm just going to swing this over and see if I can attract one just with a little bit of a tapping, of it hitting the water, and then we'll just, as soon as they're out of shot, we will continue to feed, which they are now. So it's sort of evolved, these last 5 years shallow fishing, and there's some very good anglers that have been doing it for a long time, but it's become the norm now in a lot of venues, especially on a pole. And you know, there's various ways of doing it, with dry ground bait, with slop, soup mix, with you know, slow sinking bread, with caster. There's lots of different methods of doing it, but the sort of the most popular one in the summer is just fishery pellets, and a pellet, usually a 6 or an 8 mil, to try and weed out the slightly better fish. And this is one that I would recommend for you to try at your local venue. If you've got a lot of silverfish in there, Ide are especially with Ide in there, they're very competitive fish to catch shallow. And I just do that with caster or maggot and throw it in, and either do a little banded caster or a single maggot, and or even banded maggot. It goes so well. I fished a match in here sort of last year on, I can't remember which one it was now, Maple, I think, might have been Maple, and that was for Ide, and I had a good bag of Ide in that match, and nearly all the fish I had were Ide, and that were on fishing maggot shallow. It's a great technique to master. It's just when it's this time of year, it's takes some getting the fish there when there's not as much ripple. The ripple sort of hides everything, so they can't see the pole. A lot of people change the colour of the tip of the pole, silver or white, so the fish can't see it, which is, you know, a lot of people do that. I haven't on this one. Now, a lot of people use catapults when they're firing out pellets, which is great if you're at distance. Now, a little technique that you've got to learn really when you're fishing with pellets is to get the pellets at sort of 6 or 7 of them in your fingers, and then trap them with your thumb, 2 fingers, trap them with your thumb, and you're flicking outwards like that to try and get them to land around your float. So it's a sort of up and out like situation like that, and at first you know you'll struggle a little bit of direction maybe, and I throw the odd one a bit special sometimes, but once you've done it a few times, you'll get into a rhythm of doing it, and you'll get a lot better at it, and you'll get a lot accurate, and you'll find, rather than throwing it like that, which creates quite a larger area, that little flick, you're not flicking it like that, you are throwing it, but you'll find that hitting that spot is a lot easier, and you'll find a lot of your feed goes in the similar place rather than all over. Now into another fish, and again no strike needed. Purely took that on it hitting the water. Bit better stamp fish as well. Probably one of those that's been higher up in the water column, that's been cruising around. What we're trying to do though is keep the feed going in. Another little F1. Nearly ready. full of energy, these little F1s. Not hooked perfectly in the mouth. Almost too perfectly. It's just in that muscle where I can't reach. I'm just going to get the tongs on there. Just get it out that bone. There we go. If he's going to behave, see if he can behave. Ah. See, nice little F1. Sort of stamp that you're going to be starting at, really, no smaller than that usually in cedar. I go up to a lot bigger, that's for sure. See if we can get back out there and have another one to finish off. But these night sessions, a lot of the time people sort of write these days off for shallow fishing just to go down the edge, or they do it, I tend to do, is feed it and try and catch shallow while my edge lines have got a bit of feed in there, and I get a bit of confidence down there, get them sort of going down their own and mulling around before I actually ever go down on them. I'll try and catch a few shallow first, which can just make for a better session when you get down there. But again, a whacking bite, no hanging about, straight onto the feed, just no need to strike it. And I mean, like I was saying before, you get them competing on the right day and the right bait, it's suicidal. You can literally have one after another constantly, like the match they have, Syndicate Lakes here, and the stuff full of F1s, and last week the match weight was 420 odd pound. I mean, that is some serious fishing, is that? Some serious fishing. And usually a lot of that is just catching them shallow. Then we go into another fish. I just left that without feed then, because when I flicked it over, I felt a tug. So instead of putting the feed there to take it away from it, what I did is then just flicked the bait over, and it was only my single bait. So they had no other option to go for than that bait. Just a little tip there for that. That's an old clunking great F1, is that? You can see if you get them going in sort of peak match, it won't take a long time to sort of get away when they're that size, and I've missed it. That's terrible netting. Terrible netting. There we go. And you'll see sort of size of this one. You get a few of these bad boys. I'll just lift him up in a second to get the hook out. So get a few of those bad boys going. It's not going to take a long time to put up an half decent weight, even on a pleasure session or on a match. Obviously depending where depending where you're fishing, that is. But I know it's only a short one, but thank you for watching. I hope it's just give you a little bit of information. I know everyone's pretty savvy on fishing shallow now, but there is various different methods, and there's a few. If you go on there is one where I fish shallow with maggots, and these are kind of a couple of venues where I fish shallow and sort of sinking bread. So if you haven't seen those, give them have a look, scroll through the old videos. There's over 100 now on there. So thank you very much for the support. We're up to over nearly 800,000 views, which is incredible really, and for such a popular sport that's covered by a lot of people. We do really appreciate that, and anything that comes from it always goes back into it, whether it be baits or travel or cameras. We do some good work with Matt Richards and Nicky Pritchard on the Angling For You group, which is on Facebook. So if you want direct access to us, join us on that on Facebook. There's also a buy and sell on there, but it's mainly the main channel is just share pictures, share venues, experiences, ask questions, all that kind of stuff. And like and subscribe, guys. Set lines. Saw that on camera, and that was just on the top, swimming around. 8mm pellet, and just dropped that right in front of you. I've been watching that fish all afternoon. Finally decided to take it. It's a lovely fish. Beautifully mugged that, just came and took that up right on the front top lip. Lovely short fish, but like a little like a little rugby ball, so I'll try and lift him up for you. Lovely fish, and just shows a little bit of quick thinking, and that's just mugged on an 8mm pellet. Drop that straight on into it, and boom, straight away.